I am Jamaican, born and raised. I'm a Kingston girl, and as my grandmother would say, I was born under the clock. That means I am a true Kingstonian. I wanted to show Kelly the Jamaica that's not seen on glitzy TV or when you're flipping through your glossy magazine. Sure, our beaches are great, but Jamaica is more than what you see in the ads, and you have to come with an open heart for travel adventure and a willingness to roam off the compound from your all-inclusive hotel. Kelly's first time in Jamaica has to be an authentic experience, and I'm happy to be by her side. First up, Coronation Market, where Kingstonians buy their food. So here we are, we're in Kingston. This is downtown, this is Coronation Market. As you can see, it's a busy, busy thoroughfare. Well, this is where we all get our nourishment from, right in there, Coronation Market.
And it's Thursday, and you said Thursday is a particularly good day to be here.
Thursday is a good day for market day because this is when all the produce comes down from the country, and this is when the market week starts. So it's Thursday right back to Saturday, maybe Sunday, then the vendors will head back up to the country.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things to do when I'm in a new country is to go to the market. So
Absolutely.
I figured, let me take you here in my
hungry.
hometown, and let's go across the street, all right?
Let's go get something
Cool.
to eat too.
So now the market is just coming alive.
What time does it open at?
As early as 5 a.m. when it's dark, they come down. So I want you to watch out for these. These carts here are essential to Coronation Market. So you can get fresh produce, pantry staples, like your beans, your saltfish. All this stuff is available here.
The rosemary.
Smell that.
Oh, throw that inside a chicken. Roast it up.
And you see our bananas look a little bit different too, right? Which one is this?
They call it lakatan,
Lakatan. And we have our
lemons.
And these are not limes.
yeah.
Americans.
It's not like the ones we have in the
It's
States
not the
where
hydroponic.
the carrots are this big. And this is one carrot.
Exactly.
Like it's more potent to get more flavor inside of these. Yeah man, these things is like, I don't see them anywhere else in the world, and they only operate here or in the different markets. People use them to carry their goods, especially if you're doing like a big shop for a restaurant or you have a big family. Because you see, it's like the streets are so narrow. It's not us to do but get out of their way.
But it's smarter than carrying it. So.
Yeah. We continue to experience the market in all its glory, but it is hot, and I cannot leave Coronation Market without a fresh coconut. Nothing quenches my thirst more than a nice ice cold jelly, followed up with a bag of sugarcane. I always need something for the ride home. We're gonna get a fresh coconut now.
Yes, please.
As we say in Jamaica, wash off your heart. You wash off your heart. Deftly using the machete.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
That's good. Thank you. Good with the Jamaican money, Kelly.
Getting better at it. When in Rome, people. When in Rome. Thank you.
This is your first fresh coconut.
This way it is my first.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.
Oh, that's good.
Come on. Come on.
Love it.
This is a skill right here.
I would cut myself. There would be blood involved.
This was what the British Empire got its riches from sugarcane.
Yep.
That's great.
Awesome. Oh, yours got cut into quarters. Fancy. Oh! Don't waste it, Diana.
Don't waste it.
No wasting food, D.
Yeah, go on one.
Yeah, they're kind of hoping that.
That was so good. D, want some?
No.
No? Fine, more for me.
You come to Jamaica and created lemonade.
Everyone claims that Italy has the best lemons. No.
Come to Jamaica.
Come to Jamaica for the lemons. Stay for the sugar cane. Oh! I hit a sour spot. Oh!
That's what you get.
Coronation Market was everything I had heard about and more. An ideal introduction to Diana's home and its culture. I soon was eager to move on next to Kingston's contemporary art scene. True to form, just like other cities around the world, there's a clash in the Jamaican art world between the old and the new. So we headed from the market to Sky Gallery, which is setting the pace for new artists and experiences.
Hi, hello.
Welcome to the Sky Gallery.
Thank you. What a beautiful place. How long have you had this?
We've been open since December last year, which is 2021. And the whole space is just geared to be in a multidisciplinary environment for creativity. That's all that it is. And so we have a lot of different experiences that's happening in the gallery, and I'd love to just take you a tour in the exhibition.
Let's take a walk through.
Contemporary themes in art almost always have a strong tie, both to the past and future of local culture surrounding the artist. Jamaica is no different. While heavily weighted in the country's hard-earned independence, the works here also look ahead and explore the vision for its future.
What do you see as the questions that are being asked here? Who are we after 60? What are the common themes you're seeing in the work that the artists are bringing forward?
Well, a lot of them speak about who we were and who we're going to be, or where we're at now, and they speak about, you know, the fact that we have such a heavy history in terms of slavery, and the fact that at one point we didn't have freedom. So if you look on Kian's pieces right here, it speaks a lot about commodities, and one of the commodities is coconuts. And the fact that coconuts at one point had so many elements that we utilize for it. We had coconut oil, we have, you know, we use the physical coconuts to make food, and at one point we had to just purchase it. You know, we were, the people of Jamaica were the people, or I should say the slaves at the time, we had to pick it for the masters, and now it's something that's free for us all to do. It is a commodity that's no longer attached to that level of history. So her entire piece here speaks about that and what that freedom means for us. So I mean, when you go to every single one and you listen to all the artists speak about their works, you'll realize that they put deep thoughts into what they're trying to communicate to everybody. And then we as the gallery say, okay, fine, this is what we're trying to communicate. Let's enhance it by people seeing physical coconuts so they can appreciate that it's not just about what you see, but it's also elements that will remind us in our everyday. Because you might look on this and say it's a painting, but then when you go outside, you're not seeing the painting, you're seeing the physical coconuts. And then you're reminded about what the artist was trying to communicate to you.
We freely climb. It's just beautiful.
Just like everybody else, I'm an art appreciator. I like seeing art, and I can appreciate that in Jamaica there's a need for that experience, because when I travel, I get to experience different things from different galleries, you know, in Paris or in Germany, in Italy, and I've seen a few of them to be like, why we don't have this in Jamaica? And so I decided that, you know what, let's just open an art gallery. From that, I said, you know what, I'm creating a digital gallery. Why is it that we have to collect money? You know what, everything is done online. The entire gallery is online. People can access it from all over the world. That is how it should be, because people should be able to access Jamaican art. And if you have it in a gallery, sitting down and somebody have to physically walk in to know what's in your gallery, we're having a problem in this day and age where e-commerce is a huge thing. Absolutely huge.
It's I would say the art world writ large has been very slow to move toward online. I remember when the pandemic first happened and
everybody started to
they're all like, hey, hey, look at us, we're selling online. It was like, welcome to the party, pal. I mean, we've been doing it for years with consumer goods and other assets.
For sure. We're the first Jamaican digital gallery that's completely online. And then I'm probably the youngest gallerist in Jamaica at this point in time because everybody else are seeing a much aged crowd and they're in the business for at least 30, 40 years.
Sure.
I've just opened the gallery for 8 months now. So, I mean, we're really, really young, but we have been able to connect with a wide demographic of people, young and old, that have come into the gallery that has never experienced things the way how we're presenting it. Because remember, connecting with art is not just what you see, but it's also what you feel and what you're able to connect with, which is why it's so important to have the installation surrounding the art, whereby people can say, wow, you know, this connects well.
We are later joined by artists Leanne Haslam and Camille Chutta.
I was able to be in her last exhibit of the identity, who we are after 60 as Jamaicans and what it is to be like as in Jamaica and such like that. So,
you still have a couple of your pieces here, still over there.
Yes, I do, actually.
You do.
The main piece was sold, but there are 2 glass kiln pieces that are here still.
How did your work resonate from your viewpoint with the theme for the show?
So for me, to be Jamaican is to be a part of nature, right? To appreciate the beauty that's around you, and it helps refresh me. I lived abroad for a long time, and I moved back in March 20th, I remember, because they closed the borders the 21st, 2020. And at that time, it was a bit of inner turmoil for me. So my piece is called Marooned in Paradise, Jamaica being the paradise, Maroon being our history and different things, and also the actual feeling of being stuck in a place. At the time, your birthplace, but not really where I was living for a long time. So by being here, the nature of what it is to be Jamaican, the people around me, the support I got, it helped me pivot from one side of confusion and inner turmoil to another side of, this is where I'm going to be, let me make the best of it, let me do what I'm meant to do here. In a nutshell, that would be my piece.
What is your impression as an artist working with gallerists?
My impression of working with gallerists in Jamaica, it can be really tricky sometimes. As an artist, I do feel like I do have to do a lot of the work, like
marketing,
the promotion, and that's become the norm, especially in the age of everybody's on Instagram, able to do the kind of work for themselves. So I'm kind of functioning in this realm of I put on exhibitions. We've had an exhibition that featured Leanne as well. So I'm kind of like curator, I'm gallerist, I'm writer, so I'm having to cover all of these bases because of a kind of, maybe a lack. We do have a history of galleries coming up and they don't last very long.
And you then, as a gallery owner, and we were talking earlier about this too, in terms of changing the dynamics of what the gallery model is and how to work with the artists. So as you're doing more of the omnichannel, you can buy online, you can, the exchange of the commerce side of it, are you also working more closely then with the artists on the promotion together?
I'll leave that to Leanne to tell you about her experience.
I have no problem sharing. I'm actually really glad that Chetta shared that, because I worked as an artist in Japan for about 12 years actively, and it was a different experience coming here. In fact, I really expected galleries to do more here because I'm used to, you prepare the invoice, you sign a bunch of documents, the terms and such. Maybe you display the artwork or they have someone who sets it up, right? And then you basically leave it. You come and you maybe opening day and such, you engage if you want to, it's optional. But the marketing, all of that's taken care of. You just basically get into your bank account the amount, okay, this is sold, this is what we've taken and such. Yeah. However, I was very happy and pleased when I exhibited with Tara because I didn't have to do any marketing, to be honest. I just felt heard, seen, and valued, which I think is very important here as a female artist.
What are you looking forward to? So in terms of the things that you're working on and you're looking ahead, what's inspiring you right now, and what are you excited about as you continue to approach your projects?
My main interest has been on looking at identity, post-colonial identity in Jamaica, and race, blackness. So that's kind of where my thematic concerns are in terms of my work. But I'm also, I'm an educator as well. So I have brought a lot of students to the Sky Gallery. And I want to carve out a space for students to be able to, grow in Jamaica, because there's always this desire to leave. We talk about this a lot, that it feels like some artists don't think that they can thrive here, but you can. It's just you need to do the work, essentially.
One word to describe the global art market.
Growing.
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 Competitive.
Competitive.
Intentional.
Intentional. Thank you so much.
Portland is my favorite parish because of its lushness and access to beaches, cool rivers, and the Blue Mountains. You really get a full island experience in the small parish of Portland. We journeyed there to meet Maurice Lee, a Maroon and the CEO of the Cromanti Experience. Maroons are slaves that fought for their freedom and gave the British hell in an 80-year-long war. They are freedom fighters with a strong history. The Maroons occupy sovereign territory in Jamaica, and they operate as a state within a state, meaning Jamaican laws do not apply to them. They settle their grievances among themselves. The term they use for someone who's not a Maroon is outsider. Yes, even me, a born and bred Jamaican, is called an outsider. We had to receive special permission to step foot on Maroon territory. Let's walk. We hiked to Nanny Falls, and along the way, Maurice teaches us how his ancestors used plants for medicine and in warfare.
Our ancestors used to use it on the back of field.
Yeah, I use that in soup.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, yeah, so you get the juice from it. And you'll squeeze it in the cut to stop the bleeding. So ancestors used to use it on the back of field. When we in our farm and them places, we use it as well. Call it Kwako bush. Yeah, man, that's straight, yeah. This right here, so it's called the carcoon vine. So they used to wrap them body in it and hide in the bushes from the British so they could be able to say it's the first camouflage that ever exists. Like our ancestors are the ones who really created the guerrilla warfare tactics. They team up with the Taino Indians who were here on the island first. And then when the Africans came, they then bond together. So the Tainos really and truly the first Maroons, if you ask me. Because the name was Cimarron, which is a Spanish name for wild and untamed. So that is when they and the Spanish used to war. More recently, I've studied and I've learned there was a word called Cimarron, which is the Taino word for the fight of the spear. So I don't know, based on the war between the Spaniards and the Tainos, they may hear the Tainos speaking about Cimarron, think that is the name, and start calling them Cimarroons and give it a meaning, say wild and untamed and all of that. So, and then now the English, when they got the word Cimarron, then they turn it into Maroon. So it's the Tainos and the Africans that came together to make the Maroon, because the Tainos, they knew the terrain, and the Africans, then they have the fighting skills.
Today is Heroes Day, national holiday in Jamaica, and we're here at Nanny Falls. We're in Moortown, the home of Queen Nanny. So tell us the significance of Queen Nanny and the space here to the Maroon culture.
Queen Nanny, really and truly, she is one of the first African liberators to oppose the British. In that time, the British controlled like quarter of the earth. So they have massive resources and so forth. And a lady, laid a handful of, warriors in the mountains here in Little Jamaica here. And, she was victorious. So if you think about somebody like that, that's just a small sand grain, to the heat to what she really was. She was a military leader. She was a strategist. A lot of things that they have out there right now using, where warfare is concerned, they learned it from the Maroons. And when you go anywhere now, you see her name, military leader, skilled in guerrilla warfare.
Yes.
So a person like that, of course, being a descendant of her, would have to find some time within the year. Even though I celebrate her every day, but it's for family together within the community and celebrate her. And what best day to do it, like Era's Day, which she's the only female national heroine in Jamaica. So, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the falls.
All right. So the falls, it's a warrior sanctuary. It carries its spiritual energy. A lot of people come here. Legend speaks of it being a space where our ancestors used to come before and after battle. So before battle, they will come and have a warrior, like ritual and thing.
Oh, great.
And they have a little strategy when them come and come and experience. I tell them more about what go on there. So,
Yes.
but then there's the after battle part of it when they will come and they will like cleanse before they go back to integrate with them family, because our granny would have tell us like you come from party or you come from out the road, you have to sit down on the veranda and breeze off and left the dopey out the door.
Yes.
That meaning leave that negative energy outside. So it's the same order. They will cleanse before them go back, to integrate with them family. I remember you come from war, you kill, a whole heap of things. So, people have to get back spiritually balanced, mentally balanced and so forth, so them can integrate back with them family.
The romantic experience. Get the experience.
It's more than a tour, it's an experience.
During slavery, Jamaica was a proverbial jewel in the British crown. From 1796 to 1799, there were reportedly 814 sugar plantations on the island. Plantations produced crops such as sugarcane, otherwise known as white gold, and coffee. Livestock pens produced animals for labor, and they were there for consumption as well. Mount Plenty was one such plantation. Laura Facey is a contemporary artist who is best known for her large sculpture in Emancipation Park, Redemption Song. Laura's art takes the institution of slavery and smacks us in the face with it. You can't help but pay attention. She doesn't do it for shock value though. She's living on a former plantation, and the day-to-day realities of slavery is smacking her in the face. Thank you for welcoming us into your home.
Yes.
I've seen this piece, The Spirit Dancer.
Yes.
And I've always been moved by it every time I go to the AC Hotel. Tell me about the piece.
I actually did 3 pieces. One was called Goddess of Change. The second was called Still Singing, or Singing Over Bones. And this is Spirit Dancer. And it maps my journey. Goddess of Change. I wanted a change in my life.
Yes.
Singing over bones. I had to sing over my own bones to bring myself back to life. And then Spirit Dancer. Here I am dancing.
I sat in front of it for a very long time. I felt this lightness, exuberance, and such joy just looking at it. But also, it feels for us, the John Canoe tradition that we have here, which are the African dancers that come through the streets at Christmas time. As a kid, I was scared of John Canoes, as most Jamaican children are. Yes. But then when I looked at that, I didn't feel that fear. I just felt that joy that went into that piece. So Laura, tell us about Mount Plenty.
It's a heritage home, and it was built in 1750. It's a plantation with cattle and pimento, and I've been living here for about 42 years.
Wow.
Yes.
So we're in your shed.
Yes.
So this is where all the magic happens.
Yes.
What are we working on?
Currently we have some hearts that we are burning at the back there, and further back we are carving the hearts, and also we have some lignum vitae points being made.
So these are the anatomical hearts?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Let's talk about the wood,
well,
the trees. Yeah.
Sometimes when trees fall down, people call me and say, would you like a lignum vitae tree
Yes.
or a guango tree? I'm very lucky that way. I have a rule now, I don't want to cut any more live trees.
Okay.
I depend on nature to help me if needed.
So what is it about trees that fascinates you, makes you want to work with them?
I'm essentially a carver, not someone who works in clay. If I work in clay, I end up carving it down. I'm a carver, and I'm surrounded by trees. It's natural to use what's given to me.
Yes.
So the three graces with the heart at the top. Normally it's a head at the top, you know, of something like this. And but the head and the heart now are one. Because the heart's up there, you know, and we have balance. It's about balance. It's also about giving ourselves the grace to transcend the past, the trauma. So that's what's symbolic for me.
My father would have loved this place.
Yes.
My father was an artist who became a police officer, and he died waiting for a heart transplant. But he had his own woodworking studio. So this would be he'd be so fascinated by this. It's beautiful.
This canoe would normally be sitting on its stand there, and it would be surrounded by sugarcane. It's called Their Spirits Gone Before Them.
So what are the little figures made of?
They're made of resin.
Okay. This piece is dealing with the transatlantic trade,
Correct.
the Middle Passage.
Correct.
Yeah, so these are the ancestors
Yes.
that have gone
So-
before us.
Exactly. And there was this struggle. How can I take my freed people and put them back in a slave situation? And I was reading Margaret Césaire Thompson's book, or my husband was reading it, and he read me this little passage. "'Tis a spirit thing, and their spirits have gone before them into the Blue Mountains," something like that.
Oh.
And I just said, yes, we're eternal. So this takes us to the past and also to the future.
And I find that has been a theme in your work, that hearkening of the past. Especially now you see here with the sugar cane that is supposed to accompany this, because sugar cane has been a gold mine, especially for the British Empire.
This is one little piece from my installation that's at the National Gallery at the moment. It's called Guide Their Way Home, and it's hearts on a plinth. And by acknowledging the pain of the past, we can move on.
Do you feel like that is the message your art is carrying, that the healing, because you're tackling with some very, very hard subjects, things that is really heavy on the heart.
Yes.
And I want to know what's that like for you, energetically carrying that as an artist.
Well, my early work was all cathartic. And then I reached this beautiful point where I went through my own healing, and now my work is prayerful. So it's easy, it's beautiful. These are all prayers for our healing. That's my passion, that my work has work to do.
Oh my.
This is an inventory of the slaves that were actually living on Mount Plenty. So in 1820, John Hyatt died, and this is what he owned. Male slaves, 62 of them. Females, 63 of them. Horses, sheep, hogs, and poultry. And this is the value of each one. Well, I find that shocking. That really hits me, that people are listed like this. And
this is a value in pounds.
this is a value in pounds.
And how they're different from one person to the next.
Right. So the blacksmith was 500 pounds.
Because he has a skill.
He has a skill. Now you look at old Joe, nothing. He's worth nothing because he's old. Tom is old. he's worth nothing. So it's also shocking that horses are worth 90 pounds, 60 pounds, more than some of the slaves, you know.
50
pounds.
With the
40
women,
pounds.
looking at the value placed on the women.
Right.
Catherine?
This really, for me, brings the whole business of slavery. It throws it in my face, for me, that I'm standing here on Mount Plenty, and this is about Mount Plenty. So this piece is called 62 Men and 63 Women, and it's on a stone wall because that's what they did. They built stone walls over every acre of this property, up hills, down valleys. It's amazing what they did.
Do you know what stone this is?
It's limestone.
Okay. So limestone is used to mark the property boundaries?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm so upset looking at this.
This is called Heart of a Man. So a woman's primary job in life, if you want to say, is nurturing. A man's is protection. So if you can imagine coming across the Atlantic, he's shackled on the ship. He is separated from his family. He can do nothing. His heart is ripped from his chest. So this is what this piece is about. It's called Heart of a Man. Mm-hmm. So I did this piece because there was a lot of, I'd already done my Me Too piece. I had done another piece before this, but I wanted to do something that would be healing for men. So, because a lot of our young men sit on the side of the road waiting. Mm-hmm. And I think it's related to what happened in the past. You know, men were put one side, women were put the other. You know, all the men had to do was make the women pregnant, take no responsibility.
Yeah.
And so that pattern is still being passed down. Mm-hmm. So our job is to give opportunity, education and opportunity to the young men in particular, everyone. But so that's kind of the inspiration behind this piece.
You know, you've tapped into something, you know, the ancestral memory, the DNA of slavery that is still, we're still feeling that today, because even what you just said about the young men, because Jamaica was known as, number one, is buck-breaking plantations, as well as breeding, right? So the fact that we still have that still going on, where, you know, you have the wayward youths just on the streets and it's not taking responsibility for them, that's part of our ancestral DNA.
Right.
That's part of our healing that needs to get sorted.
Yes. Absolutely.
Whew.
The monument was so intentional. For the 6 weeks when I was creating it, it's like I was almost in prayer. I've got to create the most. This piece is like a prayer. It's got to radiate out. It's in the center of Kingston. It's got to do its work. It's got to transform. Mm-hmm. I had journeyed from this dark place and I was just feeling so much lighter at that time. And I wanted to share that. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying it's possible. If I can do it, everybody can do it.
Talk to me a little bit more that intention of that piece. What was the thought going in? And did the thought change?
I would say the thought did not change. I wanted people to experience the possibility that they could let go of the past, that transformation was, that's what Bob Marley sang about, that's what Marcus Garvey wrote about. So I wanted them to be connected to the divine, and you know, it was a very, very, very intentional piece. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I absolutely knew what I was doing, but but I absolutely knew what I wanted, the intention.
Now I'm just thinking about the figures looking up into the sky.
Yeah. Well, their eyes are actually closed. They're closed and they're just in communion with the divine. And they're close enough where they're a unit. So they're in communion with themselves and the divine. So it's like three things, you know, man, woman, and God, you know. Mind, body, spirit.
Jamaica has an endless bounty, with more than a few of my all-time favorite flavors. Nutmeg and pimento trees, Blue Mountain coffee, fresh fish and seafood, Scotch bonnets, the world's best lemons, and fresh sugar cane. But there is one flavor experience that must be imported. Grapes for winemaking cannot grow and thrive on the island, but this hardly means that wine isn't an ideal companion to Jamaican dishes. Deborah Taylor Smith, known as Wine Lady Deborah, brings her experienced palate to help people across Jamaica learn the ins and outs of great wines and the best pairings with classic Jamaican cuisine.
It's interesting how diverse our food is, and one of the things I have found about our food is it contains layers of complexity, and there's a depth to our food that you don't always find in other foods.
We cannot grow wine making grapes here because we have way too much heat to that is going to ripen the grapes way before what we call the phenolics of the grape have had a chance to develop.
Wines aren't made in Jamaica.
Correct.
They are made elsewhere. They are imported here. What is it though that in your life experience that really brought you to this idea of I want to start pairing wines with Jamaican dishes?
My main experience started in 2004 when I was invited to manage a portfolio of wines. I realized that wine is a beverage for all occasions, all palates, all times of the day, all budgets. And it's a much more user-friendly beverage than we are led to believe. For so long, it has been something that, you know, has had this mystery about it, and it's sort of elitist or even elusive. But at the end of the day, you know, it is a beverage to be enjoyed by everyone. And when I came into wines in 2004, I realized that wine were being drunk by, I don't know, 2% of our population, because the mass of the Jamaican population is, you know, not exposed to wine and can't really afford it. So how do you bridge that gap? Because if I'm talking to 2%, then clearly my business is limited, but I got to grow my business. And we realized pretty early that we needed to find a way to make it user-friendly and approachable.
I just want you to pick it up and smell it. Tell me what we're smelling.
For me, I realized that, look, if I'm able to tell someone that, you know, if you're having your curry goat, your oxtail, your stew peas, and you can drink it with this, or even your patty, like the Jamaican patty is a staple. If you're having a patty and you have it with a glass of wine, you have now elevated the whole experience.
Still getting the Sultan.
Which is good.
Yeah. For me, it is important to say to persons that, look, no matter what you're eating, no matter what your taste profile is, no matter what your budget is, no matter how old you are, I can find you a wine that you're not only gonna like, you're gonna love.
So we have just had this fantastic tasting experience with you. And as soon as we get out of here, we're on our way to go find some chicken on the side of the road.
Yeah.
What is the best wine pairing that you would recommend with jerk chicken?
Ooh, so with the jerk chicken, do you have a tolerance level for pepper or no?
I love it.
You love
I've
pepper.
actually been taking on even more the more I've been here.
If you want something that is going to tame the pepper, then a nice crisp Prosecco is going to help the palate to kind of cleanse itself and to wash the pepper off, okay? So something with a little bit of sweetness, like a Riesling, medium sweet Riesling, or a Moscato is also something that would work. I have to confess, beer with jerk is awesome. I just have to say. And then if you wanted a red wine then a lighter style red blend, one of those kind of off dry reds. Or for someone like me who doesn't like wines that are sweet, I would have a glass of Pinot Noir. Cheers! It was so great to meet you. Cheers.
Of course, all of this talk about wine pairings makes me hungry. Thankfully, Diana knows one of the most celebrated chefs on the island. Miss T's Kitchen is the Ocho Rios namesake of Chef Anna K. Tomlinson. In recent years, she's expanded to a second location with views above the Caribbean Sea that can only be described as epic. We travel nearly 5 miles above Ocho Rios to Miss T's on Murphy Hill, where we joined Chef Anna Kay, along with the artist Leanne Haslam and production advisor Carice Lawrence, for a shared meal of classic Jamaican dishes.
Murphy Hill, we're here.
Welcome, welcome.
Chef Anna K. Tomlinson, thank you so much for having us at this stunning location. So tell us about Murphy Hill.
It's a piece of heaven on earth, don't it?
Yes, yes.
Well, Murphy Hill came about because I traveled to Croatia and found this little spot in the hills, and I came back and said to my husband, I love Miss T's Kitchen, but I want this. I want to find somewhere up in the hills, far away, somewhere magical where the energy is just mind-blowing. And I don't want to be open every day. I want just special groups, small groups of 10 or more. And yeah, I just want to make it really special. We don't have set menus up here. According to how what you want, then I plan around it. So I just travel and I get ideas and I come back home and I try and combine our Jamaican food with whatever experiences I've had, and it works. It's been working. Love Jamaica, love our food, love our culture. And one day I just got up and I said, you know what, I have this piece of land, and I'm going to take all my road trips and put it in this little place. So that's how Miss T's Kitchen came about 14 years ago. Today we're going to be doing family style. So this is our saltfish fritters, which is made with just a lot of love. No. We use a little flour, we use salted cod, all the fresh herbs, which is the thyme, Scotch bonnet pepper, scallion, and I put a little coconut oil in mine, and I don't use no baking powder in mine because I like them flat and
I do
crispy.
too. I don't like the puffy.
The puffiness, yes.
Yeah.
And then I did a Thai chili sauce, which is with mayonnaise and just some Thai herbs and thing in there. So there comes my little travels into the Jamaican food.
Thank you.
And to start with that, we're going to start a little light. We're going to start with a nice Pinot Grigio, a Sentito Pinot Grigio. And this will go nicely with the, with the saltfish and all the herbs and things. It's nice, crisp, and easy. It goes down real easy. Because we are so diverse with our culture, the out of many one, we've had so many influences. We have the Indian, we have the Chinese, we have the Spanish, we have the English, the British, African. So for me, and I mean, yes, I'm Jamaican and I'll say this, but for me, Jamaican food is like the best. Because of that, because there are just so many different influences that, have come with our food.
Oh man, look at the nice pepper.
That's our rice and peas. Every Jamaican, their meal is not complete without rice and peas.
Miss T's famous oxtails.
Oh.
And here we have the curry goat.
That needs to come right here. So as I bring out, I love to do family style up here and at Miss T's, because what I love is that you get a little taste of everything. And also it reminds me of real old time Jamaican Sundays.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big thing for Jamaicans. Sunday, I get goose pimples again. Lord, I have to start crying all these things. But that was and still is at my home. I mean, you can come to my house any Sunday and there's enough breakfast and there's enough lunch and dinner for everybody, because that's how I grew up. I grew up with just, it's a Jamaican thing.
We have the Barbie fried cauliflower.
Right here.
Oh. The curry coconut chickpeas.
Right here.
The jerk chicken.
It's like they knew which ones were like meant for this is meant for me.
Clearly. We have some Scotch bonnet pepper.
Ooh. She brought it to me.
Some fruit chutney.
Mango chutney. Made
It
love by
goes really good with the curry goat.
The curry.
And the
Yes,
chickpea.
yes. That's another Jamaican thing, you know. We're not gonna. If all of this on the table, we call it our belly could bust.
Yeah.
And you're so full, we're not leaving nothing.
Yeah.
We're going to clean everything off
Yep.
the table.
You about to see.
I'm down. And just dig in and enjoy. Just pass it around and
Perfect.
enjoy.
I'd love to start with the rice. Can you?
Me too. That's me. First
Yeah,
it's the
just
rice
make
and
it
then
right,
it
and
comes-
What's the perfect rice and peas in your opinion?
All right. First of all,
Thank you.
when I cook rice and peas, I cook it totally different.
Okay.
All right. So what I do is I start with the peas has been cooked. I put in I get coconut oil. I use real cold pressed coconut oil from St. Thomas. Yeah. You will appreciate that.
Yes, I do.
And I saute my garlic, my thyme,
Good.
my scallion,
Yes,
my
layer.
ginger. And then put in the peas, saute the peas with that. And mix in the rice. So what that does is it allows everything for the flavors it sweats.
Yeah.
And then the flavors get into the rice. And
Yeah.
then I add my coconut milk and my water. When it comes to a boil, I cover it, turn it down, and cook it for 15-20 minutes.
Oh, those chickpeas? Yeah, eat. No, I know I'm coming here. Oh my God, those cauliflower looks amazing.
And coming next is oxtail.
Yeah, man, that's the oxtail.
I'm sorry, but there's only one thing you can do with oxtail at a certain point. It's this.
Nice. We have the Whispering Angel from France, which is lovely. I think as you have a little goat or a little curry chickpeas, just have a little sip of your rosé.
Where does Miss T come from? Where'd you get that name?
Well, Miss T is my husband is a doctor, and everybody calls him Dr. T. So then they call me Miss T. So one day I was sitting down and I said, what are we going to call this restaurant? And a friend of mine, he said, oh, you mean what you going to call it? We're going to call it Miss T's Kitchen. No, he said Miss T's Restaurant. And I said, I don't like the name of Miss T's Restaurant. I said, how about Miss T's Kitchen? So, yeah. I used to once be Dr. Tomlinson's wife. He's now Miss T's husband.
We have to throw to that.
Absolutely.
That's right. Cheers.
That's right. That's right. He says, nobody don't know me anymore. Everybody's like, oh, that's Miss T's husband.
Until next time, Jamaica. I enjoyed peeling back the layers and showing Kelly my homeland. Now you know that we are so much more than sun, sand, and people that just go, yeah man. As a developing country, we do have a long way to go, but we have so much to be proud of.